Hello and good morning, everybody. Dale Robbins, Rich Violette, and Coach Leonard Haynes of Northwood University's football team here in Midland, Michigan. And holy cow, we are launching this in. I actually had made a reference earlier. It's like Resurrection Thursday here at MCTV and at Northwood University. Northwood Replay is back on the air, and we're excited to bring this back to fruition. I'm going back to the Don Winger and Pat Rietma days, Wingnut and Coach Sullivan. It's a long-running airing program on MCTV. Mother Nature changed that for us in 2017 as the basement of the Grace A. Dow Memorial Library was impacted by the floods we had last summer. That kind of took Northwood Replay and many activities here at MCTV off the air. But we have plugged in just like it's 2018 because it is, and we're excited that you're back with us. And we are looking forward to all football season long having this opportunity multiple times throughout the week on MCTV to bring you Northwood football and a look at that game from both sides of the ball with Coach Leonard Haynes. I would also like to introduce my co-host, did a few games with me last year on the radio and on the internet, Rich Violette. We'll learn a little bit about both of these guys, and then we're talking football here on MCTV. Coach Haynes, you're entering your fourth year. Your first year was an interim head coach. The last 2 years you've been the head coach. You're taking on your fourth year. You've noticed some growth, changes, challenges in your 4 short years as a head coach, but Northwood football and its program is not new to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, of you bleeding blue.
Yeah, definitely bleed this blue. And graduated from Northwood back in '94. Had a chance to left, went to the real world for a little bit until Coach Remo called me and said, "Hey, I need you back to get in coaching. I think you'd be great at it." I told him I don't think that's for me. And so wind up coming back in '95. And I was the defensive line coach, and then kind of worked my way up. I kind of went through the ringer, been a coordinator, a strength coordinator, recruiting coordinator. Kind of worked my way up through the chain, and worked with Coach Sullivan for a little bit, and then Coach Rietma came back. So anyway, obviously unfortunate what happened to Coach Rietma, and I took over from that point, and basically I've been there, I believe now 23 years or so, to my 23rd season. So now, if you want to add the time that I played, that's a little bit more.
Let's add that in.
We won't talk about that.
Well, this is awesome to get this rolling again. I know we talked about it last year in its absence, how much we enjoyed, and I think it gives Midland, Michigan, and those who will have some opportunities to take a look at Northwood football. It's called the SEC of Division II, is the GLIAC, and we have the nation's best right here on our own schedule. So thanks for making some time each week to come back and do this with us this year. Now, a new face to MCTV and a new face to TV in general. A good friend of mine, Rich Violette, he and his wife Lynette and their 3 children have been lifetime friends. We churched together since our kids didn't have teeth, and now they all do, and most of them are married. So, Rich Violette, give us a little bit about your Midland, Michigan experience, and more important, the fact that, we're Creekers together, and Rich had a huge successful reign as coach, assistant coach out at Bullet Creek in the Lancers for years. So, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Dale.
Good, great to see you.
And Coach, I woke up this morning and it was cool out.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is football weather, baby. This is football weather. And,
that's right.
Coaches feel that way,
feel
right?
It, that's right.
You get it. So, I've been fortunate. Raised a great family in a great community with great support from friends, community, Northwood. So I was able to coach in the Bullet Creek School District, as you mentioned, with Darren Kalina. That was a great experience. I learned a lot. I raised a bunch of young kids through our entire youth football program for 8 or 10 years. And then Darren says, "Hey, you're coming with me. Help me out on the varsity staff." So I did that for 7 or 8 years. And we had some tremendous success. And and along with that, my son Nicholas got to go to the Wood, got to play at the Wood.
That success with Coach Haynes.
Yeah, and so then I went from coach to dad, and I got to spend a lot of neat nights and days watching him grow, and so it's just been a great experience. And Coach, you were part of that.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Big part of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching youth grow, watching football players grow. And it's not always about size, even though by the time you get them at 18, 19 years of age, there's still some of that lies ahead for them. You have a young football team that's got growth in front of them. You had a young football team last year. You had a young football team the year before, and you are constantly losing some of your veteran leadership with graduation, and you have some outstanding athletes. That list could go on and on with people who have changed the program.
Right.
That these youthful players of today have been mentoring under, learning under, that now their leadership is starting to blossom. How do you see, when you came in 3 years ago as head, how do you see the growth of those players? Because you're really in your recruiting classes now. You are just starting to reap the benefit of having been that. What kind of things do you look for as a head coach coming out of a successful season at 7-4 a year ago, which is a 4-game improvement from what we did in 2016? How does 2018 look based on that kind of growth that you're seeing in your young men on the football field?
Well, one thing I would say is our young men is taking ownership of the program, and that's one thing we as a coaching staff wanted to make sure of, that we had some leaders, develop the leadership, and develop those guys taking ownership of the football program. So my biggest thing is making sure these guys buy in, as with anything, to what we're selling and what we're doing, and they taking it and run with it. So to our players' credit, they have taken it and ran with it. You know, I always tell them, you guys have stock in the program. This is your program. And so for us, now you see the culture's changed, I guess, if you will.
Sure.
You know, and the culture, I know is the buzzword nowadays, but culture to me basically means shared beliefs. And if we all believe the same and we hold each other to the certain standards and expectations, we'll continue to grow and we'll continue to get better as a football team. And so it's good to see our young men starting to grow and come of age and take their ownership and become leaders. And now when we get the new crop that's coming in, they grab those guys and say, hey, this is how we do things here at Northwood University. This is how we do in the football program. And that's when you see the change happening, and your culture starts to change, and the relationships build up to the point where now these guys go to battle for each other no matter what, because of the relationships they have built with one another.
I don't even recognize you unless you say that word, because you say it all the time. It's about the relationship.
About the relationships,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coach, any young players that you're real excited about that are going to take that next step, take that leadership role?
Yeah, it's a few. I tell you, Coach, it's been just amazing to see. We have some guys that really is buying in. The younger guys now are stepping up, saying things, and you know, our freshman group, I think this year's freshman group, I tell you what, is very, very talented. And the key thing too is all these guys are good character guys. And so you'll see about 4 true freshmen playing for us this year.
Wow, very good.
And one at the D-back spot, and a couple on the linebacker spot, and on the offensive side, you'll see an offensive lineman in Jawan Campbell. He'll be playing for us quite a bit as well. So these guys have kind of stepped in and bought in, and they worked their tails off, and so they will definitely be playing for us this year. And,
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So it's good to see, you know, it all start to develop and come together.
Well, if you're saying that, let's go ahead and maybe see a little bit of that growth and opportunity, because it's not just game week, opening season game week for you. Your practices started weeks ago. Your preparation for this Saturday began 11 and a half months ago. And we've got a new look at Northwood University, and we've got some things that have been around a couple of years. We've got some video that we're prepared to roll for us, and maybe we can talk our way through that. So there's our new carpet, Coach.
Yeah, nice new turf, thanks to President Pretty, Dave Marsh, their efforts in getting this thing taken care of and getting it put together. And it's much needed, you know, that we played on grass for a while, and we love the grass.
Home field advantage.
Home field advantage is one thing we've always talked about at Hand Stadium. But just to see how this has come together so quickly, it's amazing, the support that we have from our university. And this is going to be great for our players.
And you guys have only been on that for about a week and a half.
For about a good week and a half, yes.
Coach, do you do anything differently to prepare for turf? I know you play on it from time to time, but cuts, things like that, do you worry about injury? At least initially, until the guys get used to the new carpet?
You know, it's a great question. That's one thing we kind of talked about too as a staff is, you know, with the new turf, you know, do we have to worry about ankles or knees? And so the one thing they told us is that, you know, hopefully we got a good rain and that the rubber pellets can settle, and that'll help. and we've had some good rain.
So the good rain the other night really helped us.
That's good rain. So it definitely has helped us and helped that turf to settle a little bit. And so it's been great. You can see those guys run around.
Well, it's not the first time that your squad has seen turf. This is several years old for us. Our turf building.
Well, no, we played on turf indoors at home, that is, but practice-wise. But it is different preparing, going back to that, is preparing on turf versus grass. You know, so anytime last year we prepared for a team that played on turf, we would go and use our indoor because, one, what's different is the kicking game.
Right.
You know, guys kicking off the turf. So that was the difference versus kicking off grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
You know? Your staff, you have one new staff member, but you got some boys that are strapped onto you like Velcro. And maybe we take a little look at what's coming back and the success. And I think one of the successes I noticed from last year versus 16, if I may, is, boy, we took some hits on the chin in 2016 and late in the games, opportunities to win, and didn't get it done. Last year, we changed that around and won some ball games late. Of course, this is a good-looking shot of you right here. But let's look at your staff, and you can describe how each of these coaches
Get rid of
have
that
had an
picture.
impact. There, move right on to Malin.
Malin Luke's been here for over 10 years now, defensive coordinator, very good football coach. He knows more football than any man I know walking alive right now.
Coach, what is the base D that you run? If you had a base D, what
It's
is
a
that?
4-2-5, you know,
Okay.
4-4-2-5 type of style defense.
Okay.
Base front, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Zack Remo, offensive coordinator. He's going in his third year as offensive coordinator. He's made some great strides. I'm very proud of Zack and what he's doing with our offense and continue to evolve as a coach.
Now, we'll talk about it a lot on the radio, the Woodbone offense. Describe that a little bit. And obviously the reference is to the wing offense.
Yeah.
And that option game has been solid for this university, has it not?
Yes. That's one thing we hang our hat on. You know, we call it the Woodbone. And Coach Z calls it, I called him Coach Z, he calls it Woodbone 2.0. So whatever that is, but definitely been solid for us.
Coach, I always think of it as high risk, high reward.
High risk, high reward.
You know, and like you always say, Northwood takes care of Northwood, will be just fine.
They will be just fine. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Special teams, that's an asset
Special
for you.
teams.
Leading team in the country on kick returns a year ago.
Coach
with
Arnold and
EJ.
his dad, they do a great job. You know, Coach Arnold's been very instrumental. He's my right-hand man. He does a lot of things behind the scenes, but he has that special teams playing at a very, very high level. They have a great culture and as to what they do, so love what he does with them.
Tight ends, like Rich said a little bit earlier, he looks like a tight end.
Jeff Pierce. Jeff Pierce been around the block. He's a head coach at Fair State for a number of years, and he started out on defense with us, and we moved him to the offense side of the ball. He has a couple of different roles with tight ends, and we've had him do some dabbling in the spring with the running backs, and so Jeff's very, very instrumental in what we're doing offensively too.
Let's see.
Gavin McMackin, yeah, the bearded one. Defensive line coach, run game coordinator, very, very smart coach. Does a great job for us with those guys up front. Yeah. About Mitchell's our secondary coach. Vaughn's been with us now, I believe, going on his third year. And Mitchell has come in, wealth of knowledge. He was a coordinator his last couple stops, defense coordinator, and he does a lot for us on that back end, helping these young men mature.
You mentioned earlier he's got his work cut out for him.
He's got his work cut out for him. Yes, he does.
Boy, we lose Nick in that backfield, and that's
Oh,
in that secondary.
Oh, it's a big difference.
That's
Here's
a big
the new
difference.
face to your collection.
New face, Zach Huter. He replaces Kyle Powell, offensive line coach. This big fella, they call him Bear, affectionately call him Bear. We got him from Davenport, but he played at Michigan State, so he's a Sparty. And he coached over at Michigan State and coached out at West Virginia as a grad assistant, and we're very happy to see him. He brings a different type of flavor to our offensive line unit.
Sure. Let's take a look at the balance of it here for you.
And Dave Arnold, going into his 50th year
Legend.
coaching, and I'm so blessed and happy that he chose to stick it out for 50 years here, his 50th year in coaching. And his son, obviously, is E.J. Arnold, and they do a tremendous job. He does a tremendous job in helping our special teams unit, and we definitely love having him around.
Yeah.
Yes. Brian Leggett, a local legend, I think I said earlier, has been with us for a number of years as an assistant secondary coach, and Brian does a great job with those young men. He's coaching our corner specifically right now, and he does a great job with these guys. And Tom Crager, had to pull him off the shelf a couple years ago. He was with the staff for 8 years with Coach Remo era, and I was able to get him back. And
Good
get
find
him back.
again, too.
Oh, yeah, and have him back with us, man. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the option football game. Love having him around. Great positive and influence to our young players, and love having him back there on the sidelines with us.
And he'll be a big help with those wingbacks this year, I'm sure. With you trying to find that right combination with the two guys graduating last year.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a big voice, so he definitely steps in and help with that. Yeah.
Well, we've taken the first segment or two of this program and talked about what was. And I'm looking forward to the second segment of this for Northwood Replay, and that's what is and what lies ahead. And we will do that. This is typically, we would, through the rest of the season, we'll take on both sides of the football and have you meet some of the student athletes that Coach Haynes has tutelage over, and is teaching these not only to be football players, but good men doing good things wherever they go. And we're going to talk a little bit about 2018 and its opening weekend for the Wood. We're off to Tiffin, Ohio come Saturday, but we're going to invite you to stick around for that, and we will do that right after this word from Midland Community Television. Stay where you're at.
With an amazing studio, fantastic equipment, and a stellar production trailer, there's no better time to become an MCTV producer or volunteer. You can even make your own television show. Check out some of our upcoming training dates and call our station to get started today. For more information on trainings or anything else related to MCTV or MGTV, make sure you check out the city's website, and don't forget to like MCTV on Facebook.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. Northwood Replay 2018. Dale Robbins, Rich Violette, and head coach of the Northwood Timberwolves, Coach Leonard Haynes. Coach, in our first section, we talked about what was and what it has been. It's not about that anymore. You are 0-0 as you enter every week, and I know that's the truth. But on the 2018 campaign, a lot of hard work and effort is going to come to fruition 48 hours from now down in Tiffin, Ohio.
That's
right. What do you see now as the 2018 goals for your team? Well, let's take a look at what the coaches think of that before snaps even been given.
Yeah.
This is the way the coaches poll came out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I guess we'll go from we'll start out there with Davenport.
Like Dave Letterman, top 10, baby.
Top 10. It's only 9 teams in the conference, but you got Davenport, who I believe will be much improved football team this year. Be their second year in the conference. I think they'll be a very good football team. Michigan Tech is always a solid football team. Very good program. Northern Michigan will be much improved. They have some good weapons coming back. I know for sure on offense, and so Wayne State. And Saginaw, Northwood, kind of right in there, lumped in there at 4. And so I think the coaches may have gotten it right. I think we're kind of right in the middle there in a way. And so, and obviously the perennial powers, if you will, as people say, the Ashland, Ferris, and Grand Valley to round off the top 3. And so, and that's the coaches' poll. So
right.
I really don't get too wrapped up in the coaches'
Can't,
polls because, it's, again, week by week, like you said, it's 0-0 every week, and we just take each game as it comes, and our guys understand that. So we can't get wrapped up in that. No matter where they picked us, we got to go out and perform each week.
Doesn't change what you do, does it?
No.
Coach, I know Dale alluded to it earlier. That is a tough schedule, especially when you got 3 teams ranked in the top 25 nationally.
Yes.
With Ferris State and Grand Valley and Ashland.
This month, man, back at the back at the end of the month.
And I know you're excited to get that season started and just see where your team is at matching up against those teams.
Yeah, as you said, the GLIAC, I think you said, is the SEC of Division II, and with those teams that's ranked in the top 20, I mean, it's great football. It's great football. But the other thing is we have other teams that's not ranked per se in the country, but very good football teams and good football schools. So, we got to come every week ready to play.
You bet.
So we relish every second, every moment we get.
And Coach, I think I told you off camera, we could have been in that ranked position.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And we were right there.
We were right there.
From a
So-
year ago. So
Exactly.
there's a
So-
lot of good football
Yeah,
teams.
and this football team, I mean, this conference, you got to show up ready to play every week. And at the end of the day, you approach it that way, week by week. And our guys got to go hard. They know they have to go hard each week. Can look past any opponent. And as you see there, we open up with Tiffin, in which for us, they're a good football team. They're returning some pretty good football players. They had a receiver who's getting some NFL looks, a running back who's pretty solid, or two running backs, a quarterback. He'll have another year under their belt, under his belt, and so they'll be a solid football team. Defensively, they were pretty stout. We thought last year, and so at the end of the day, we got to show up and play and get after Tiffin.
And you guys have matched up. This will be your 12th time having played this club, and it's fairly even through the ranks. But
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Coach, and speaking about Tiffin, the unknown, because it's the first game of the year.
Right.
Playing against Tiffin, how do you prepare for the unknown?
Well, that's the one thing, for, Coach, how it is with preparing for an opening game. You don't know if they've changed some schemes. They're doing a little tweak here, tweak there. Defensively, they have a new defensive staff, all except for one guy. The new D coordinators from Carthage College, and so he has a little bit different type of scheme, and so we just don't know what we're going to see. And so it's just going to be up to us as coaches to make the adjustments. And once we figure out what they're doing, then we make our adjustments. And that's football. It's a chess match. And so, but you're right. You don't know what you're walking into initially. We just got to be able to adjust to it.
So for now, preparing for everything.
Yeah, that's right. We prepare for
Getting
everything.
ready to make those adjustments.
And make those adjustments.
Well, it is opening weekend for you guys. It's game week for you, game one. The rest of this GLIAC, the further you get into this, it doesn't get any easier for any of the 9 that in this division. Let's take a look at some of the other opening contests and who's preparing for who. Here is this coming weekend opening in the GLIAC. Let's go ahead and take a look at those game matchups.
Well, some key games there. I would jump to Ashland versus Indiana, PA. 2 playoff teams last year, very good football club. So that's going to be big for both teams. Grand Valley opens up in Indianapolis. They beat Indianapolis, beat Grand Valley last year. So
right.
Supposedly upset.
Surprise.
But Indianapolis is a very good team, but I know Grand Valley come out ready this year for them for sure. And you have Ferris at East Stroudsburg, Truman is at Michigan Tech. And McKendree travels all the way to northern Michigan. That's a long track there. We got Robert Morris playing Davenport, and obviously we round that out. Tiffin, we'll be headed to Tiffin on Friday. Yep. So some key matchups there, big implications in terms of the poll. Like I said, that Ashland, Indy, and Grand Valley, Indianapolis is going to be some interesting games there.
Quick question for you. Of course, they all are because we're on a time crunch here. There's a clock running in the corner, right, guys? You guys tired of hitting each other? You guys tired of practicing against your own? What's kind of the element and the energy that you're seeing in the locker room that might be different this year and on the field, different this week rather than it has been?
Well, these guys are chomping at the bit.
Oh, baby.
To get the plan. You've been in camp for almost a month, basically.
Right.
And, although it's game week, it does feel like camp still to me. And classes have started, but it still feels like camp. But now it's time to see what we're made of. And that first game kind of tells you a little bit where you are as a football team. And so our guys are ready, and they're itching, and like I said, chomping at the bit to see, what we're going to come out like and what we're going to be. So the energy level's been great. The expectations are great. And there's a great buzz going around our football team right now. And so our players are, like I said, ready to go.
Right.
In a typical week, Coach, when's your walkthrough day, for example? When are you toning it down and mentally getting ready?
We'll tone it down actually today. Thursday we'll start toning it down a little bit, and then Friday will be our walkthrough. Now, in this case, we will walk through before we travel to Tiffin. It's not too far of a trip, but we'll tone it down a little bit and get these guys kind of more dialed in from the neck up area, and hopefully they can dial it in now and prepare the correct way. And for us, we always talk about preparing the right way and hoping our guys understand that. That's watching film, that's studying your opponent, taking care of the minute details of your position or whatever it may be. So we want our guys to understand you have to prepare, and our coaches, we're teaching them how to prepare at the end of the day. So now you leave no regrets come Sunday. And at the end of the day, if you put it all in, hey, there's no regrets.
You know what I found this interesting over the years in my association, my relationship, that's your word, by the way, with you and the football team, is that those who come Saturday afternoon and watch 2.5 hours of football on a 100-yard long football field, and they see the game and they get involved in that, and we got a new tailgate area too, I know we're all excited about. We'll tell you more about that in a second. You knew about it. So there is so much work that I've seen, and I recognize. It is the game that is inside the game, and that is your team's divided by defense, offense, line, backs, all. They study. You use the word study, and they're studying in college, but they are studying on the football field because you guys do breakouts every day, and you're discussing who's coming up, what you need to work on, what needs to improve. How critical is that these guys get that part of football? Because they didn't get it at the high school level. Certainly they got some, but this is a different level of preparation for you guys.
Yeah, college football is a little different. I mean, they have to juggle a lot between studies, obviously, then football after the fact. And so at the end of the day, we tell them, hey, you have to study your opponents. You have to study what you're doing. Get better each and every day at something is what I tell the guys. And I tell them that after every practice just about, have you gotten better today and at your craft. And so if you're not working at it, then you're going to be behind. And if they work at it and they study and meet with the coaches, we'll be a much better football team, and regardless of talent, because we'll know what we're doing.
Right.
At the end of the day. So I kind of put the onus on them to get that done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Coach, we haven't touched on it, but are we healthy going into week one? Do we have any concerns in that area?
Well, we're a little banged up, I think, as with anyone going through camp. We got some bumps and bruises and nothing too harsh. And so we just got to keep them healthy as much as we can, And so you talk about the element of how much is it if it's a mental, I guess, deal. And I said from the neck up, it's got to be very important because we got to keep these young men healthy so we can get them through a season. And so coaches have to be smart as well and making sure we're not banging. It's not the old school days anymore when we play. The NCAA has cut some of that out. But so at the end of the day, we have to be smart as coaches and keep them healthy for a good season.
Now, we've intentionally not talked a lot about players. We'll start meeting them the rest of the season on. We're going to bring them right here to MCTV and let our viewers and our fans get a chance to see inside those lines. Everybody in football, and I know this is not the philosophy for coaches, nor is it mine, but it's not the 11 guys on the field, but everybody talks about your quarterback.
Yeah.
And you've got a Spitfire in Joey Garbarino. I think he's a quality kid. Tell us a little bit about that position. And you've also got Dunacek, who got some time in with Joey's injuries last year. And how we sitting there, and what kind of explosion might we see this third-year youngster come?
I hope we see a big explosion. Our quarterback is probably one of our deepest groups, quite frankly.
Right.
And Joe has proven himself that he can play in this conference, and he's taken hold of the offense now. He understands it a lot more. So, with any system, you can understand it and grow with it, you'll be better from it. And he can direct traffic. He understands that now. Grant Dunacek has been great for Joe. They've been great for each other because they push each other. Yeah, they push each other. And they have a great relationship with each other as well. So, but it's a competition nevertheless. And, I tell Joe and Donnie, hey, go after it like it's yours. And take control of the offense. And Joe's done that. Like I said, last year he's did some great things. He did get banged up a little bit, which afforded Dunacek to come in.
Right.
Dunacek kind of got thrown into the fire. He got thrown into the fire early versus Ashland.
Coach, I thought he did a great job considering the circumstances. His decision-making for his age, for a youngster, was phenomenal. I mentioned that to Dale on the broadcast 2 or 3 times, and the ball bounced the wrong way a couple of times. Wasn't totally his fault, but you got 2 great guys coming back, and with experience, I'm excited for them both.
Yeah, I am too. I'm very excited about our quarterbacks. Yes, that's a great point.
Boys, I'm going to give you 1 week to think of some more things, because we're running up against a hard break, and to conclude this this first of many coming here on MCTV. We're going to remind you that Northwood University takes to the road to Ohio Friday, the team will leave. We'll bring it to you live on WMPX. Rich and I will make that call. It's a 7 p kick, so we'll be on air with that about 6:45 on WMPX. Go Timberwolves.com. You can pick that audio up online and see stats and all that through that relationship we have with Presto Sports. And just like that, you're no longer a rookie.
No longer a
Rich.
rookie,
You
yeah. How
are
about
in this
that?
game, baby. You can't say I've never been, because now you have. We are going to wish everybody out there a phenomenal change and a good end of summer. It's coming right up here in a few short weeks, and a great start to fall 2018. And if you want to improve your fall, Northwood football is the way to start that and get in the feel of what lies ahead. Thanks for everybody who has tuned in. We look forward to seeing you in just 1 week from now. For my co-host, Rich Violette, and our head coach, Leonard Haynes, my name is Dale Robbins. See you soon.